Hi, Stream Queens Con 4 people. Ooh. Welcome, welcome. It's the last panel of the day. Can you believe we made it? It's almost a wrap, but it's not over yet. So strap in. Sit down, strap in, strap on, whatever you're into. Welcome to DI. Why not
Why
do a
not?
little drag? Why not be a little person that makes your own stuff? My name is Dear. Let's play what you fear. I'm going to be your moderator for today's panel about DIY not making your own drag. So let's go around the room and introduce ourselves and maybe just mention a few of the things that you've made yourself. And then we're going to dive in. We're going to learn about your process. We're going to learn what makes you tick. We're going to see a few things that we've made as our we've made ourselves. But first, who are you and what do you like to do? Let's go around the room. Maybe let's start with to my right, Yovska. Hi.
Hi guys, my name is Yovska. I'm the ultimate drag plushie. Yes, Danganronpa reference. Well, they don't have an ultimate drag plushie, but like if there was, it'd be me. But anyways, yes, I make plushies. I turn myself into a plushie. I make all my own costumes, props, etc. And I also even like to DIY like my out of drag outfits too. So just make them a little more edgy and stuff. So yeah.
Love that. Thank you so much. Hi, Drag Trashly.
Hi, I'm Drag Trashly. Here we guys at Garbage Can entertain you. And I stream over at twitch.tv/Drag Trashly. I think that I mostly DIY my own earrings a lot of the time, and sometimes I'll make my own prosthetics. But mostly, I make my own things when I either have to or get bored.
That's drag at its core. Is I'm bored. Let me do something. Let's go around the room. Please read a book. Are you going to read me a book today?
Yes, I actually do have Style by Andy Warhol, just, right here. A really good source of inspiration, when coming up with a good outfit. Hi, everyone. My name is Rita Book. Miss Rita Book if you're dumb. Dr. Rita Book in a few years. I'm like a fancy bookmark come to life. I'm Please Read a Book on all social media platforms, but I'm not very good at any of them specifically. Typically, my DIY sort of focus is on hair and hair-like things. And I also made these cute little book page nails, which I think are really fun. And these cute little, these are mostly just crafted. These were a very minimal amount of effort. But these cute little like apple earrings that are just like this foam sticker thing. But mostly, I run an amateur wig emporium over here. So
I just realized your name was a pun.
My name's a pun. Yes, it is a pun.
Yes.
It's also my name.
Wow, did you come up with that yourself? Did you DIY your name too?
Actually, it was a family name, My parents just had the foresight, so.
I love that.
No, I got the book part, but I never realized the Rita part.
Rita, you better read a book. Please read a book.
Please. Oh, yeah.
Please, Rita.
And we also have another pun in the house. It's Debug.
Hello, everyone. My name is Debug. I am the blue screen of drag. As you can probably see, my favorite color is blue. I'm a game developer by day and a disappointment by night. But I make my own clothes. I can make a skirt, other types of skirts, some t-shirts, and some pants. And sometimes I'm known to make a dress or two. And I make 95% of my own clothes.
That's awesome.
Fierce.
Wow.
Fierce. Thank you all so much for joining me. Anyway, bye everyone.
That's great.
So we're going to have a little discussion portion, and then I want to have a show and tell. And Rita, I feel like you're going to be really good at it because you are so good at being a teacher. But we're going to just discuss first why, and we're not going to go around the room. I want people to just volunteer if you have something to say. If you don't have anything to say, we can move on. It's going to be real casual like. Okay. So, why do you? Oh, wait. Should I talk about me? I made my own earrings today. They're actually Christmas ornaments that I made into earrings, and then I also like to do paper crafts and get real crafty. Anyway, why do you create and why do you craft? Should I call people out?
To escape the pain and torment.
Wow. Okay. I love that. What, Trashly, why do you create? What inspires you to create?
There's a number of different things that'll inspire me to create. Sometimes it's just like watching TV shows of other people doing stuff. Will be like, oh my god, I can do that. I can make something like that. Or maybe just seeing a YouTube tutorial, or even a makeup tutorial will inspire me to do, try new types of makeup. But why? I guess so. I have cool things to wear and cool things to like envision a look and then work on it myself and then create that look based on things that I've been doing is really cool. One of the reasons I like to do drag is for the transformation, and a lot of that has to do with a lot of DIY stuff. So like I sometimes will make my own prosthetics. I'll like I said, I've been 3D printing hundreds of pairs of earrings illegally, maybe, I don't know. And I'll even make wigs, even though like I'm not like a trained hairstylist or a trained wig artist. Sometimes it's just fun to learn something new, and it's fun to challenge yourself. If you're tired of like doing something, there's always something to do in drag. So if I'm tired of 3D printing earrings, I styled this wig. I didn't know we were gonna say everything we did. Okay, I painted this, I graffitied this dress you can barely see. I 3D printed this little Trashly thing. But I just think like I get bored doing things. Like I get bored with hair, so I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna do something else. Or I'll get tired of sewing, so I'll do something else. So like when I said I get bored, I do.
It's that aspirational like need to be show-stopping and have something new, right? At
Yeah.
times.
Something cool. Yeah. And yeah.
I'd
I
say
love
I'd say one of the main reasons that I like either craft something or feel the need to like actually like be the person that makes it is because I'm going to be the person that wears it, right? And I also think like a huge element of what I find inspiring about drag is making it very specific, and it's like investing more than just like the time to do the makeup and time to get into everything, but also being the one to prepare the things you're getting into, right? And I think that there's something really fun and playful about having like a craft hour and a crafting evening and just putting on a podcast, associating, rhinestoning something, or teasing a wig, or designing like a different element to like integrate into your drag, because I think those little details are actually what stands out the most to other people. Even if they don't necessarily see it on the first end, like I cherish those compliments so much more because it's like I've invested the time in making those things. And also it's one of those things too where I'm a little bit selfish with my ideas, where I'm like, if I'm the one that came up with it, I want to be the one to do it. Like, unless I feel like somebody can do it better than I could do it, in which case I'm more than happy to delegate that to them. But for me, it's also just sort of a way to sort of continuously stay engaged with my drag and like my drag persona outside of just like doing the makeup and like being like fully done. It's a way to sort of like bridge the gap between the two, if that makes sense.
I love that. No, that I feel like that's so relatable. It, like wanting to be a part of your own drag because it's yours.
Yeah, I think I can definitely relate to that as well, because it's like, I mean, DIY. I think I started DIYing just because it's also so expensive to commission things or whatever. But DIY is the best way to like start drag and start making your own things and making them personalized to you and unique to you. And I mean, I don't think there's anyone that can really do what I do, so I think I'm the best person to kind of do my own stuff because I like my things in an exact way. And it's honestly so much cheaper than commissioning. So
Absolutely.
I agree. Like I am very much like I think the best thing about certain like most drag looks, it doesn't matter like the execution, but to me it's the concept. So when someone's like they have an outfit and you're like, oh, you can see how their brain works and whether it's coming through their drag character or their personal interests. That to me is what makes drags fun and why the creativity really starts. And everything else is kind of like production and execution. But to me, it's like, oh, I see where you were going with the reference maybe to a movie or, you know, video game characters, or like maybe like a certain type of aesthetic. That to me is where the creativity, and to me is the most fun part of like thinking of like, okay, we're going for a theme. Okay, what references do I get? And then, as Yovska pointed, also try to make yourself means it can be financially a bit more, because making drag looks, you know, you can commission something for $3,000 or make yourself for maybe $100. You know, so it's one of those things that's, you know, you make yourself put the blood, sweat, and tears into it. It's gonna pay you back timefolds. You know.
I also just think about like the legacy of like drag as a tradition, like as like a broader art form of like, that's sort of always been the circumstance of like your body is not necessarily fitting into the outfits, or the hair not necessarily being made for you, or like these small little accessories that you may not be able to like go out and confidently buy at the store, that you have to sort of like figure out a way to sort of build this character. And I feel like crafting and like making has been like such a huge like integral part of like drag since its inception, really.
Yes, absolutely. I what I love about making things myself, or having a hand in like the design, is just that I can be a little bit more in control. Do y'all like the control of making something yourself? Like it goes your way because no one else has any input in it. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess even for me, like it goes even to the fact how I photo edit things. Like I do all my own editing for photos, and I was really bad at it at the beginning, but I've gotten a lot better like by the years. But yeah, definitely that thing of a control where it's like, oh, okay, no one's gonna do exactly the same way. No one's gonna edit me the same way I want to be edited. So like, I take full control of that as well.
I love it.
I've had trouble with like commissioning things in the past that were very specific. So yeah, definitely that very much is like you have a vision of something. So if I wanted to do like, I don't know, a drag look that's inspired by the Pokemon Serena, like I have a vision, I have something that I want. And then I get my commission the day before I have to perform in LA, and it's a bodysuit with heavy little bags on it. And I just have to perform in that. I just have to perform in it, and it looks awful. And
you slayed though. You made it your own, and you made it special. So you didn't use yourself into that.
Not the little bags on the bodysuit.
I do love a commissioning, like seeing something and being like, okay, I want that. Can you please make it for me in my size, and so it fits me perfectly? Like seeing somebody else's style and commissioning that is one thing, but yeah, it's definitely good to have control so you can actually execute your vision. It's not always cheaper though, because when you start a new hobby, it's very expensive.
There's an investment there.
Don't look at drag at all, like
drag period.
Yeah.
I'd say I have like a love-hate relationship to the whole control element, because I think like what ends up happening as well is like the perfectionism starts taking over, and you want to have control over, especially like, you know, with wigs, and if you're not like a trained hairstylist, or you know, you just don't have access to like the best quality this, that, and the other, like you can't control hair in a certain, like you can to a certain extent, but like sometimes you've just got to like let it speak to you in a way. And so there is like a certain like push and pull of like, I want to control this and make it look exactly what I need it to look like, but also am I going to have the flexibility and the grace to my process to like allow for there to be a little bit of like a lack of control, right, for it to like finally be done, or for it to like sort of live in its own terms.
Well, that's where practice makes perfect comes into play. And that actually has to do with my next question. Did y'all train like training, I guess, can be its own conversation, but like did you train for this DIY journey in drag, or did you just learn out of necessity? Like did you teach yourself with no guidance?
I taught myself how to. I studied robotics. Can you imagine? I studied how machines work. Though, that was kind of at the same time where I was getting into drag, was my college years, you know, and like the whole like stuff. But I was very much into that. I wanted to get into robotic fashion and tech fashion and 3D printed fashion. That's kind of where my kind of the avenue started. So I was like, oh, I would love to learn how to make my own clothes. And I was like, how does one do that? So I bought myself a cheap hobby sewing machine, and I learned how to drape by watching YouTube videos. And then I said, like, oh, I'm going to learn how to do fashion design. And then I figured that's actually not, that's too much work. I don't want to do that. So I tried to do like a little course online at night to try to figure out like how to drape and how to do this kind of stuff. And then I took like a 2-3 year break. So in the meantime, when I was doing Stream Queens, I was kind of trying to learn to like, oh, I'm going to start doing like my looks, you know, all the while starting to figure out how to edit clothes I had. And then I think more when the pandemic hit, I was like, oh, we're stuck inside for 2 years. And I was like, okay, better sewing machine. And then just like, you know, all the money I was saving from not having a life, I was basically buying fabric and just like teaching myself every day, getting better by better, starting off with like learning from patterns so I can learn like the technical aspect. And then that's when the kind of the creative start, like, okay, now how do I start experimenting with stuff, making their own hair, doing the rhinestones, doing the like, you know, mixing and matching. But the pandemic was the good and bad obviously for mental health reasons, but good for like, you have time to do nothing else but hyper focus on making clothes. And that's why to me, I think that was the really start of like debug really started coming to being. I'm like, okay, the concept and the stuff is coming. And that's where now she's a bit of a higher quality.
I remember that because you suddenly like emerged and it's like look after look after look after look, and you're like, this is everything I learned. Look at the fruits of my labor. Like it's so exciting, especially like for you, but also for people to be like, oh my gosh, Debug, she's doing stuff. Like it's so cool.
That's very sweet. Thank you.
Of course. What about anyone else? Are you trained, or did you teach yourself how to DIY your drag?
Yeah, I have. I mean, like before doing this, I was doing what is it, like textiles in uni, so that was like my background. So like a lot of like I learned a lot of like, you know, conceptualizing things like that, and like some skills that I transferred over. But then like a lot of like what came after, like a lot of the costuming, things like that, like that's something I taught myself afterwards. And so I mean, I had a nice background to kind of take all that into like drag, and I used to make a lot of plushies, so that kind of explains a little bit of the path I ended up going into. But yeah.
I was not trained. I'm very untrained generally. So with my drag, I had been like a huge admirer of drag for like several years, and I first focused my energy on like helping Aubrey get like her start, because we met when we were living in Berlin, and I saw this incredible talent, and I was like, let's put you in drag and like work on a number together, sort of like my send off from like us sort of living there at that time. And so a lot of like the energy was like just me thinking about like the drag character that I wanted and sort of what I wanted to conceptualize. And it wasn't really until the pandemic where it was like, because I always like had the insecurity of like not executing it exactly how I wanted it to be, and drag being just an accumulation of so many different skills. And so even that first time, like when you're doing the makeup by yourself, when you have to have a wig by yourself, when you have to have an outfit for the first time, and like getting all of those pieces was like so intimidating that it took like me sort of like having the time and the space in the pandemic to sort of like, you know, watch some YouTube videos and take a first stab at styling a hard front wig and just sort of figuring it out. Figuring out how to like glue down my brows and like sort of do that in the confines of my own bedroom. And pretty much since, like, it's been like a mixture of asking people a bunch of questions. I mean, YouTube has like a wealth of information on like wig styling. And then it's just like the combination of different sort of skills you pick up along the way, whether that's like doing a roller set, how to tease this way, how to do this, that, and the other. But then also at the same time trying to find, because I think that's something that's not going to be trained ever, is just the style and the approach that you have, right? And so
Your perspective.
Yeah, like your vision and like your perspective and like what exactly it is that you like about that particular thing that you're crafting. And I think that just takes time of like trial and error and like looking around and seeing like, this is what I gravitate towards and this is what I don't.
Absolutely. And I think you touched upon something really interesting, is the beauty of drag sometimes is when it's like blossomed in your bedroom, just going for it and applying yourself and being like, I'm a drag person and I'm just
Mhm.
gonna do it. And that's like learning how to do things yourself and having something that's unique and custom to you that you had hands on is so special. Trashly, did you have anything else you wanted to add about, did you teach
Well,
yourself or how did you learn?
I didn't teach. Well, I did teach myself, so I wasn't trained or anything. But I do like what you just said because it's kind of like I feel like learning a new skill, like learning how to do hair or paint your face or even just regular like just drawing. Like you start out simple. You start out like I had a friend who like used to just trace Pokemon, and then you start making your own Pokemon in different positions, and then you suddenly you're making like hyper realistic paintings of Pokemon and like stuff like that.
And
Oh
then
my
so
God,
you,
I'm still gonna go another direction.
yeah, well, and then you start Pokemon yipping, and the I think that you kind of find yourself in learning through these skills, and you kind of find your own style, your own fashion. I'm still just doing things and learning and figuring out what I like, and especially like with wig styling, I feel like I always like the wigs I style, even though they're kind of like trashy and like frizzy and witchy. I'm like, I kind of like that. Maybe that's my
and the
style.
name.
Maybe that's my drag, you know? And maybe it's not, who knows? But yeah, I definitely learned everything myself pretty much. Like I also like learned from you, you know, like you've helped me with some you've helped me with makeup, and um I think that I've also like learned how to learn new skills better, because when I first started makeup, I was watching Miss Fame and it was just too difficult. And it was just like, I don't know what an E3 brush is with like this
Because
shade.
that E3
Yeah,
7000 or
right.
whatever.
Unattainable if you put
Math
if you set
in
your
makeup?
expectations too high.
It's like all
Or
of
when
the brushes have all of the very specific numbers, and she's
Yeah.
like, this is like if you're applying a singular lash on your outer corner, it's like the specific brush for it.
yeah, or like like you mentioned patterns, D. Like I bought like a store pattern and I just unwrapped this thing, and the instructions are like do a couple base stitches, then do this and this. I had to like Google everything
Yes.
over and over again, and like you don't know what you're doing.
No.
And so it's like then you watch like James Mansfield will just have like a sewing tutorial. She's like, well, find something that kind of fits you, find a shirt that fits you and trace it. And it's like, well, if I
It's
started
DIY.
there, the later things would make more sense. And so it's better, like I've learned to just like start easier and then build upon that, and then maybe don't even make your own dress at first, maybe just stone a dress and maybe just add things to it, or like it's definitely going through the DIY process has made me just better at learning.
I also think there's like a little bit of an interplay there too with like what the demands are on your drag as well, of like, because Trashly, one thing that I find incredibly admirable too is just like the frequency that you're in drag, right? And you're still creating and you're still finding ways to like incorporate new earrings, new outfits, new wigs, new styles, new this, because you're in drags just like at such a more higher frequency, right? Than like,
Yeah.
especially me. And so I think that that's also like a weird added layer too, is like the dimension of like professionalism you are with your drag, and like how often you have to be in it, and how you sort of like think about that with like creating new things. And like I think that your exhaustion with the current things also wears out really, really quickly if you have to like, you know, wear the same hair 5 times a week.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for diving in and teaching us a little bit about you and your process and what you do and what you like to do. We're going to go into another portion. It's going to be show and
wait,
tell.
Can I add it? Can I add a little bit to what Trashly was saying
Please
about
do,
like, the
please
pattern
do.
wrapping?
Yes.
Oh my God, yeah, that's something I also had like such a hard time wrapping my head around. But like, what I ended up doing was just kind of working around with like draping things on different things. I never got into like the whole like buying the patterns. Like I just could not do it. So my process has been very like organic, just kind of going as I go, trying things on, taking it off, sort of thing. I do use some patterns, but they're so basic. But yeah, I guess if anyone's watching and they're thinking about starting, like don't get discouraged if you just cannot do the pattern thing. There's other ways to also make outfits.
Go a different route. Figure it out. DIY.
DIY or not.
DIY not. So we're going to move into a show and tell portion. I've asked all of our beautiful panelists to have a few items that they want to share and show off. Before we do so, y'all, we are raising for charity. We are raising for AmFAR right now. So use the donate button on the channel if you'd like to contribute. There's also links in the chat. Also, if you want something special during this weekend, we are selling merch. All of the profits go to AmFAR as well. So exclamation mark merch. And if we have time, we are going to be taking some questions possibly. So use the ask a question feature if you'd like to ask a question. Who wants to go first? Who wants to show off something they've made? And raise hands. No one? No,
I can
you
go
don't have
first.
anything you've made?
I think everyone's just really polite.
Well, yeah.
Well, I'll go first then. I went to art school and I love crafts, but I usually don't have the motivation or the emotional bandwidth, or just like I don't know what to do. I don't have inspiration unless I have like a reference or a jumping point. I think Dee, you mentioned having references. I'm super inspired by cosplay, and so I like to make little crafty things. So I made the house, the family house from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I wore this as a hat for a stream. It's made of all paper and construction paper, cardboard, little things I got at Michael's for like some grass and watercolor. And I just like,
So good.
it took me back to college when architecture classes. And yeah, it's not as elegant on the back, but it's beautiful from the
Nothing's
front.
ever elegant on the back.
No,
I
no,
really
no.
want to jump out that window.
I know, right? And I've made other things with paper before. I just love crafting. Like I didn't have orange paper. This is an ear actually. When I cosplayed as a cat, Dead by Daylight had Jonesy from Alien. But I didn't have orange paper, so I spray painted it and I cut it all out and I made it into a headpiece out of wire. And I also made a Jason mask. This was $1 at Walmart and I glittered it myself. We hole punched all the holes. We shaved the sides. And with some Mod Podge and Dream, we made it into a fascinator.
That's cute.
It's fascinating.
Fascinating.
Just crafty. Who wants to go next? Who wants to share something or a few things that they've made?
I can go next.
Let's go, yeah. First of all, did you make what you're wearing?
Oh my god, I did. How did you know?
Oh,
Oh my god, this wig took hours to style, bestie. It doesn't even look like a wig, right? No, it's not a wig. It's a headpiece. I stuffed it, and I like to work with stuffing. So like I was talking about how like I used to like, before I started drag, I used to make like little plushies. So this is one of like it's actually one of the first ones I made actually.
I love it. Liz said he's lying. I saw that at Target last night. Pass up. Do you have a Target line?
You saw it at a Dollar Tree. Yeah, it's true. But yeah, so that obviously transferred into like my dragon stuff. I also make my own headpieces as you were talking about. So this is one of them. Oh, I forgot. I have the green screen on. It's a dinosaur, but it's getting
gorgeous. I can see it.
Oh, so cute.
Cool.
And I rhinestoned it, including its butthole. Can I say that? Is that against TOS?
No, but
I mean, it's anatomy. It's anatomy, okay. And then that guy like splattered.
This is educational.
It is
blood.
yeah.
And I rhinestoned the. Oh, it was actually made out of bed sheets. You see little dinosaur bed sheets. I don't know if you can.
Oh.
Cute. Wow.
I
I
love
also have this this shoe that I kind of customized. This got me kicked off a TV
That's
show,
so
but
cool.
I thought it was really cute.
You were on TV.
so cute.
That's so cool.
And they hate cardboard apparently.
So yeah, but I mean, see, I thought it was really cute. I thought mine were cute.
It is really
Man,
cute.
They are really cute.
Oh,
Yoska, I have a question. Do you like name your looks, or like how do you categorize? Is this like, oh, this is the dinosaur look, this is the slutty Sonic look, this is the slutty
oh, like
Pikachu look?
my little fairy wand.
Wow, it is little. Yeah,
So
very
small.
quaint.
Oh fuck! I just dropped a bunch of shit in my room. Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry. What was the question? I spaced out.
Oh, I was just wondering, like, do you have like, do you like name them? Are you like, this is like the dinosaur look, this is the slutty Sonic look, this is the slutty Pikachu look? Like, do you have like names for them, or like character names, I guess?
I'm very smooth brained, so the names you just said are the names that they have now.
Love it.
They had
I don't know, I guess I don't-
nothing before. They were completely blank slates and no descriptors.
I guess I don't really think about the name aspect as much. Like, I guess I have the idea and thing, but like in my head, I'll just give it like a really basic name, like Big Titty Sonic or Big Titty Pikachu, or that's the bad look in black and white, you know, something like that. So it's never really like names. Like I guess like sorry, I think I dropped something. I guess overall, like with like my like the character lore or whatever, like there isn't really one, but it's all kind of part of the same universe.
Mhm.
You know, I feel like everything kind of has like a kind of connecting thing. But I think that's something I would like to explore a bit more, you know, maybe a little more Yoska lore in the future. So we'll see.
If I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I know anything about Yovska, it's that you operate on like feeling. Like you want your garment to have a certain like feel. It doesn't
Mhm.
really even have a description. It's just like a feeling that it leaves the beholder. Would you agree with that, or is that completely off?
Yeah, you know, a big part of why I do this is like I love to see the reactions people like give me. So if it's a reaction of being like, "Oh, what the fuck is that?" or "Oh, that's kind of cute but scary," you know. Before doing drag, I like walked in the ballroom scene in a category called bizarre, where you had to like bring the most avant-garde, like bizarre kind of outfit. And so that really translated into when I started drag. And so I guess I'm still trying to catch that sort of reaction from people, regardless of what I'm wearing. So yeah, it's very much that bit, like very much trying to evoke a feeling of either you're feeling kind of weird about it or you're like into it. I like that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. I think that your drag is very special
It
and
is very
unique.
cheap, very frumpy looking.
Very frumpy, very unfashionable, and you're very brave for, you know, doing
Do you have fun out there?
What?
Do you know that phrase, like when somebody's like, "Oh, did you have fun out there?" Like it's like such a dismissive thing of like. Anyway,
It's like I'm gonna put it right
it
there
didn't
on the
land. It
grid.
didn't land. It's fine.
Thank
Like
you,
after
Rita.
after like a play, and they're like, you knew all the lines.
Oh my god, you look like you were having the most fun.
It's,
Yeah.
it's not like
I was so
legit, it's
confused.
that you're
I'm like,
having-
did someone just come into Rita's room or something?
Oh my god, yeah, I'm just like, anyway.
Well, Rita, now that you have the floor and the spotlight, how are you feeling? What have you made?
Yeah, I've made a few things. So I have the original Rita wig.
The
I still have
original?
it. The original, like, first wig that I ever styled. Really.
Is that Linda
Um,
Belcher?
It was meant to be like a little bit Sanderson sister.
Ooh, I see
It
it.
was meant to be. I mean, this piece is anyway. But yeah, this was like the original idea was like I wanted it to be very like school marm, very like sort of misfrazzled in a way.
Mhm.
All of my wig heads are typically like masculine wig heads.
I was just thinking that, like, that's quite the jawline.
Yeah, I just find
Do
them
they
to
all
be
wear
fun.
glasses too?
They're also everywhere. Like they
Yeah.
look at me in every angle of my apartment. It is a little bit unsettling. But yeah, this was the very first one. This was actually like an American Apparel in Berlin was closing down. And so Aubrey and I went and they were selling literally everything, including the wigs on the like mannequin heads. And this was like a €5 hard front that they were getting rid of.
It was?
This wig was, yeah. And
Oh
then
my
I just
gosh.
like watched random tutorials.
That's so funny. Oh my god, what a dream though to get those wigs from the mannequins. I've always dreamed about that.
Literally snatched. I think I bought 2 of them, and I don't know what happened to the other one, but
Aubrey.
that one-
Aubrey has it under her bed.
no, I think she would have just given it to me at this point.
Take this, please.
Oh, I made this one. This
So
was
pretty.
I-
So
I-
pretty.
I call this like my Mrs. Trunchbull wig. Only it doesn't look like her hair at all. It just like in its severity and sort of like it looks so specific. Like I just always think about like the I'm big, you're small, I'm right, you're wrong. Like that's sort of what this wig.
Oh, that's what Dear says to me off screen.
It is. It is.
And so like this wig took a while just because I was like it has so many like weird elements that I just like wasn't quite sure about.
It very much has like headmistress kind of feel. Like
Yes.
did you see American Horror Story, the Apocalypse one?
No, I didn't see that one actually.
So when you're bored, look up Sarah Paulson in that series because
she has great wigs.
she played like a headmistress of, it wasn't a school, it was like some weird underground thing, but she was like the boss bitch of it, and she has this like updo that's very like reminiscent of that. It's like up and back, and it's like Gwen Stefani except if she was a teacher kind of deal. Like it's it's just very, very cool. I love
I
that.
added to because I saw up until Freak Show, and then they really lost me at Freak Show. But
Same.
They lost us
I
all.
do usually look at the wigs of Sarah Paulson just because like they are usually really like good character wigs.
Mhm.
This is My Baby, My Star.
Famous on a man's face. Very
On a man's face, of
fitting.
course. It's on a man's face, and I wear it too. So one of my streams for a while, I was like, I try to offset the cost of any of my wigs, like on my Twitch streams, and so I had this like all of my sound alerts and like subs and all of that went to like buying a wig, and the payoff was that I would do like a Trixie inspired look. So I saved up, got this wig. After that Twitch payout hit the bank account,
When that
and then
payout drops. Mhm.
I was really proud of this wig just because I don't typically wear blonde,
Mhm.
and I really wanted to do a really good job just because like I've admired Trixie's drag for years, and I just like really wanted to like do a good job and do a wig that like was like mildly reminiscent. And then fortunately it was like featured in her video, I think last month. And it was the best part to me was the fact that like one, she instantly gasped when she saw it and said, "That's really cool." And then two, she loved the hair. And that like really stood out only by nature of the fact that like I had worked so hard on this wig in particular just to like make it big and like still Trixie but still kind of Rita. So this is a very precious wig that I don't wear a ton, but I do absolutely love. And then I
That
have
one
one.
is so pretty, and even if you just look at the back, like you really learned
yeah.
how to do the curls, the curl
Mm.
pattern, because the curl pattern is really important. I watched that video, and I would say that everyone put in a really good effort, but very few captured all the elements in the makeup being, mostly right, the outfit being mostly right, and then the hair being mostly right. I think the hair was the most missed
Mhm.
quality, and you really like she gasped at it. She got it because the hair made such a difference. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
all of it, but the hair really like boom.
So the next one that I have is also sort of inspired by someone. Well, this one is not on a male mannequin head because I'm running out. But this is what I call my dear wig.
Me or
So-
her.
So originally, it's a synthetic wig, and then I dyed like the other bits down below. Originally, I used it for like an Anitra cosplay, and then I like actually styled it in a way that I thought was like big, blonde, beautiful, and twitchy. And so this was like my dear wig that I styled.
I want to
and
wear
actually
it.
really love.
I want to wear it. Thank
Oh,
you, Rita, for the gift.
To you. I have plenty more, but I feel like 3 is always a good number. It's like the perfect trinity.
Perfect. Who wants to go next? D, Trashly, any volunteers here? Should I decide?
I can go because I don't want to follow after D, who's going to be showing some beautiful garments, and I'm just like, look at my little plastic things. So look at my little plastic things. I did a series called The Bachelorette where I was doing every single week. I did like a new drag look based on a killer from Dead by Daylight, and so a lot of the times to really evoke that character, I would make different earrings, and I would 3D print them with the 3D printer I got from my boyfriend for Christmas. So it's technically not even mine. And so I learned it's kind of small, and really all I can print is earrings. So I started just making cool little earrings. Like these were for Pinhead.
Yes.
The little,
Oh my god.
The
Wow,
lament
that's
configuration.
the little element configurations, and you can find most 3D models online, and I can just shrink them down to where I think they would fit, and I can do the little test prints
Oh, that's awesome.
to make them
Gorgeous.
and then I can I've learned to paint them a little better as time has gone. Sometimes I do have to model my own 3D things. What's one I mean, this is kind of boring, but these were Jane earrings that were very specific to her character and one of the
it's
Jane
costume.
cosplays.
With the short hair.
Yeah. So I mean, this was just circles I put together in a 3D builder, Microsoft 3D builder, and printed those. Some of my other favorite ones. Oh, the Skull Merchant ones. These are funny because they're not exactly her little drones, but they're
Amazing.
definitely reminiscent.
Mhm.
They're so
Um,
cool.
Cute.
Oh.
They're very cute. This is like a mini drone that I even shrunk down even more that I got offline, and then I got like some skull, and then I like combined them in the 3D builder. So it's really just like just building off of things. Like I don't think I'd get into actually making 3D models.
Oh my god, though.
I steal them and kind of reconfigure. I love some other my favorite ones are these little fingers.
Oh my
Yes.
god!
I made for
Did you make them?
Tom.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the chainsaws for Bubba,
Oh,
Oh my
very
god.
adorable. And then these little guys for Ghostface,
Oh, so cute.
oh, that's so cool.
Those are
They are
adorable.
amazing.
Ghostface ones. And so those are just some of the favorite 3D earrings I've made. I have some Twitch ones on now. I 3D printed this Trashly necklace to kind of be like Deer's necklace, but
It looks good. It looks
not
great.
as readable.
Rita?
Again, the size. Some prosthetics I made. So I think because I don't want to take too much time. I think the one that I pulled that I still have, because a lot of times you make prosthetics and like you rip them off and they're just one-time use. And this was pretty one-time use, but I did save it. It's a little Bubba mask.
It's so good.
Um,
I think you should frame
just-
that.
Put it on my
It's so
face right
good.
now. And I
Witness protection. Ooh.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
I mean, I don't even
Mm.
see a difference before and after. Like, that's
Um,
so cool.
oh,
You don't even have to
dermatologists
make
hate
you put
her.
that on.
This I learned. I learned online on YouTube.
Heard of her?
Oh my god, the sutures.
Yeah, I actually
so cool.
I used like napkins and like drew out pieces of my face and then put the napkins, like put liquid latex on those napkin parts and let it dry, and then you add some more, and then since it kind of dried a fleshy color, it was fine, and then I hand sewed all the little parts together, and I think I painted it when it was on my face,
That is
and added little lashes. Yeah.
The power of being a crafty queer, y'all. I mean, these people on this panel are so amazing. Also, I just wanted to mention it really, really quick. Thank you so much, Trashly, for sharing. Trashly 3D printed these teeth for me
god.
that I wore to TwitchCon last year because I was wearing a skeleton outfit because it was around Halloween, and then I rhinestoned them. But whenever I need a specific piece of jewelry and I'm like, there's no way I could ever find this, I'm like, I text Trashly and I'm like, will you 3D print something and send it to me?
Deer sent me to a dental medical site and said, "Can you print this tooth? It's somebody's real tooth."
Yeah,
Well,
I
That
sent
is
her a link
something-
to, like, a
I
real
switched
scan of
it
tooth.
down a bit so it would look like an actual like cartoon tooth you would see, but that is someone's literal tooth.
It's a
Thank you,
real
Rita.
tooth that was 3D
But-
scanned.
Is it to scale?
No, I squished it.
It's a
not
cow
as
tooth.
long. But otherwise the size, yeah, it's to scale. It's just,
Yeah, the scale of
but
the,
yeah,
of the dinosaur.
you DIY'd it. Like you didn't 3D. I mean, I didn't make it. The 3D printer did. But anyway, you rhinestoned it, so that was like you added upon another DIY.
I just love it, and I just love what you do. I love what Yovska does, what Rita does. Last but not least, we have Debug. Do you want to show us a few things? Show us what you DIY knotted.
Okay, so I have as Yovska mentioned earlier, like sometimes I don't always do patterns. Sometimes I just take a t-shirt that fits my body and I'm like, this everything's a t-shirt. A dress is a t-shirt, a skirt's a t-shirt. So I made this jacket that I learned how to spray paint with dye because I was going for a tropical theme party and I was like, everyone's gonna go for plants. I want to go as a lemur. So I made a thing to match the lemur.
Yeah.
And I have a picture, I think, here. So you can see.
Oh, love.
So I wanted to be a
Oh my
couture.
Look at you.
So I also sewed the fabric for ringtail lemur ponytail as well. So I was like, I want to go as like a
That-
couture lemur, you know?
Is amazing.
That is so cool.
Mixed media.
The next one
And I love
made
how you
was a
incorporated the virtual camera, like to have like
yes. I'm a tech
You were
baby.
right.
idea.
This was a rib cage punk jacket I made, so it matched like a rib cage, and then I did some like 3D, you know, fabric manipulation on the sleeves, give a bit of edgy vibe, which is kind of 80s, and I love. The next one that's really hard to show, but I made like when I moved from Ireland, I had like 20 pairs of denim jeans I never used as a kid, so I turned them into this like leotardy jackety kind of like so like there's cuffs for the things, and it's very hard to show because it's like lots of frayed material, but you see on my Instagram, it's very,
Yeah.
very cool.
You don't have that picture prepared? I'm just teasing.
Oh, I do actually.
I'm just teasing.
There it is.
Ooh,
Oh
my
look
God.
at that.
Scrapbooking, live
incredible.
scrapbooking.
Yeah, and this is the 80s look that I was showing you with the jacket and
Oh,
stuff. Very cool.
With the
That's
matching
hot.
skirt.
And then the next one I have is I was inspired by like old Victorian jackets, so I made like a big I love a structured sleeve, so it's like a little cool old styly, but then I kind of tuck it in a bit so it's a bit more modern, and then with like a nice little skirt. So I was going for like a Swedish event, so I wanted to do the Swedish colors. So it's yellow and blue, and I have also a picture so you can see
Wait, did you say the Swedish brothers?
the Swedish colors, so the blue and
Oh.
yellow.
Swedish flag. Gorgeous.
So yeah, and then I first time wearing colored tights, so that's always a good thing to have. If you color tights, get a few; they're very handy. And I made a little ducky and 60s look. So I was going as like a kind of a go-go girl, and it came with a child, my baby Gustav, which I made a little
Aw.
baby hat for.
A little doll.
A proud mother.
I know, and then like
You
so
need to
this,
start
this is me
shopping around
holding
for
my
kindergarten.
baby.
How
I'm a bit-
cute.
I'm a very good mother, as you can see, just hold my baby by his hand. And then the last one, our second last one, this was basically my dad is Scottish, so I wanted to do like a tartan look. So this is like a coat with 2-meter long sleeves, and like I made a kilt to go with it, and then I made a wig to go with it. So I have like a oh, that's the wrong one. No,
You know.
I don't have the picture.
Well,
Um,
we're all imagining it on you.
I basically made
It
a
looks
curly
cool on the
orange
hanger.
wig with like big, I made big cow horns, so it looked like a Celtic cow,
Oh,
but like with fashion. And I rhinestoned it, and I fucking hate this fabric. This frays and does not. I broke two or three needles on this.
No.
Oh no.
Well,
And one of my favorite looks, the 70s suit. So I made a
So
pants
pretty.
and waistcoat.
Pretty.
And I do have that picture which you've seen inside. This is like rapid fire. I know we're caught for time, but this was and I got this from a old fabric warehouse, like kind of they're selling it off, and it smelled like the 70s. It was dusty and
Oh my God.
musty,
That's
and I washed. And I smelled like I was smoking in a bar for like 30 years. But it's a beautiful. I usually go get the fabrics and I get inspired by the looks straight away. I'm like, oh, that's 70s. And then the last one was I want to go as a pink country music star, so I made like a cowboy hat and like a things.
I want that.
They're very hard to show with the not on me, but this is kind of what
How
I was like.
much?
Cute.
You can have it for free, Trashly, because my boobs keep popping out of it. It's not very safe for.
Oh.
And this is before I learned that boning is a thing. I was kind of like,
yeah.
oh, this is fine, and then obviously with a breastplate, it's like. So
Uh,
I've learned that add some more inches just
or
in
some
case.
friction
Yeah.
to catch it.
And double-sided tape does not work with these bad boys.
No.
So yeah, that's kind of the most of the looks I've made in the last year and a bit. I usually kind of try to I go fabric shop and I'm like, look, and I have like 8 pieces of fabric. Like I usually get 5 to 6 meters, which is 7 yards of fabric. So I buy in bulk from a warehouse back home that has dead stock. So I have like all these ones coming up that's very much more like debug Y2K kind of style coming.
Ooh.
So it's very,
Amazing.
very cool. They go down very well usually, and I hate sewing. It's a love-hate relationship. I really hate it, but the outfit's like at the end, like woo.
The frustrations of making things yourself is sometimes very real too. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you everyone here. I think that what is really cool is everyone does so many different and specific things, like where your expertise lies, but it's fun because you can see your perspective in it. Trashly, you mentioned earlier how like DIY is like an extension of your perspective, is in so many words what you were saying. And I feel like it's so evident between all of us that it's like an extension of our aesthetic and our point of view, which I love. We don't have a lot of time left, so I have been collecting a few questions from the audience. Thank you all so much for being here. Let's just see here. I have you ever made anything for one look, not use it, and then use it in a completely different look?
Well, the tooth earrings, dear, you didn't wear them with your look.
I forgot them. Thankfully, my hair covered my ears. And I do
Bald ears.
whenever I'm playing like a horror game and it seems like to be about like cannibals or something, these are an easy add-on. Just like be like, hey.
Right.
I mean,
would
I've
work.
definitely had the moments where like I'll make like a headpiece or like part of a garment, and then I'll be like, oh, I absolutely detest this. Then I'll like ditch it, and I'll come back to like a couple months later and be like, oh, you know what? I could change this into this, or change it into something else that now I like a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's like repurposing your own drag in a way,
Yeah.
right? I love that.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You have the floor. Rita?
oh, I mean, most of mine are. I mean, I try to make wigs that are like pretty specific. So either thinking of ways to like restyle them and put them in a different time and place, or just like entirely like resetting a wig and just starting from scratch and cutting off the dead bits and or the stretched plastic in my case, and then just like completely doing it in a different style is like typically. So it's a little bit different with wigs because they can sort of like be for so many different
Mm-hmm.
looks.
Love it. Well, I have another question from Josh Skellington. This is a specific one for a specific person. Drag Trashly, what you mentioned the Hatchlorette. What was the hardest Hatchlorette look to conceptualize? The hardest one
Pinhead.
to look at was probably Ghostface.
Pinhead. Let me, because it's so close. Let me just grab it real quick. It's just right over here.
We've lost her.
This was actually Open Milk's idea. He said something about pin boobs. And so I made this like
Oh my
look,
God.
I've only worn it once. It was like
I
a
love that.
pre-made
No, that's perfect for going to
bodysuit,
Trader
and
Joe's.
this took so long to make all these silver little things and then glue each one in grids. And then there was like the head thing I did. It was just
That
it
is
was
so
very hard and very
creative,
so
though.
cool.
So creative, and I know that that made a huge splash because you wore that on a Dead by Daylight like official like dev stream, right? Or no,
Yeah, with
on the
Xbox.
Xbox. Yes. And I know that they just loved it. They gagged. We have another question from the audience. This comes from our very own Stream Queen's darling, Smile Mortis. Do y'all come up with makeup and styling beforehand or the outfit / focal point of the look first?
When I do mine, I usually do like a sketch first, so like the concept in the sketch. And I mean, as I'm making it, I kind of just change it up as I go, because I can just kind of like I might think of something better as I'm making it, or I might find out like maybe my sketch can't come to life exactly, so I'll change it up a little bit. But that's usually how the process goes, at least for me.
Anyone else? What
I
what
think-
comes makeup or styling or outfit first?
I think it for me generally if I'm
Go ahead.
making like a what?
Go ahead. Sorry,
If I'm making a new wig, usually it's like I'll see somebody that has something that's like inspired it in a certain way, whether that's like a movie, a picture, or like whatever. But generally it starts with the wig and then like I backtrack the makeup of like, oh, I think that this might work a little bit better, this might work a little bit worse, and sort of like go with it that way.
I'm usually I always I said or like I get the fabric and I see the fabric and that's when the ball starts rolling. I'm like, okay, I know what era or what type of look it is, and then maybe I'll Pinterest and mood board, or like just find out what happens as I'm sewing up things break. I'm like, now it's a skirt, it's not a pants anymore. But then the makeup and the hair comes last because I'll have ideas in my back of my head, but generally it's fabric first and then idea. Or like if I have an event that has a theme, maybe that shortens like, okay, this like as the lemur look, okay, topical, what's the debug spin? Okay, lemur, I need to go get fur or something like that. That's kind of generally what I do. Because makeup, I'm on a makeup journey, so I've learned a lot from Dear the last year. So my makeup is so now I don't judge the makeup. I'm like, no, we'll maybe not do a graphic liner this time, or so a wig and hair makeup last because I was like, I'll find something for that.
Thank you so much for sharing. For me, I feel like a lot of people regard me as a makeup girly because I have so much interest in it. And for streaming, because it's usually like focused in on the face, I feel like the makeup comes first in my mind and then I style around the makeup. But for a full look, I usually have like a focal point being like some sort of accessory or some sort of piece of the outfit, and then the makeup is styled to that. So like when I wore this as a hat, it was like this is the headpiece, this is the focal point, and then I had everything else support that. That's my process. We are nearly out of time. The time flew. Thank you all so much for being here. I think that this panel was really a dream come true because I feel like we don't get to all the time highlight like all the effort that drag takes for streaming. Like when you appreciate drag in other art forms, like on TV and stuff, you get to dive into that process. But when you're at the club or you're watching a stream, it doesn't always celebrate the fact that so much intention and so much knowledge and so much DIY makes the look come to life. Thank you all so much. We're going to go around the room and have a few last words and goodbyes. Maybe if you could just quickly answer how can you encourage other people to DIY? Let's start with Debug.
Okay. So to start DIY, I was like, just start simple. Get a really big t-shirt and turn it into a tailored little dress. And then you'll see sewing's not hard. It's a lot of simple stuff, just accumulates into something crazy. And then you can see like your addiction will grow and then so will the pain. But you'll be cute and you'll be like, self what's the word? Like self-fulfilling, like entrepreneur bitch,
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Thank you. And where can people find you and your streams?
Oh, Debug Queen on Twitch and Twitter. And then Instagram is debug.exe because I'm a program that will crash your computer.
Woo!
Love that.
Read a book. How would you encourage others to DIY? And then where can people find you?
My biggest piece of advice is going to sound like a read, but it is meant to be nice, which is walk away. Every so often, just walk away from what you're working on to give yourself a restart and because when you've been focusing on it and you've been intensely staring at it and you're hyper fixating on it, and then you want it to be done, sometimes a 10-minute break of just like going and doing something else and looking at it and you're like, actually, this looks pretty great and I just need to tweak like these small things, because you're so much more critical when you're like really in it. So every so often, walking away from something and just like coming at it with fresh eyes is like the best thing that you can do. Other than that, read a book. Please read a book on all social media. Happy to talk all things wigs, books, beer, history, life, nouns, as
Hallmark
well.
movies.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like you're like a dating profile.
Well,
thank you, Rita. Yovska, how can you encourage others to DIY?
I would say probably the hardest part about DIYing is sometimes just starting it. So I would say just go out and do it. It doesn't matter if it doesn't turn out perfect or if you're nervous about it going like super well or whatever. Like just start it. If it turns out badly or like with mistakes, like you'll just learn again next time. You learn by improving and practicing. So that's what I gotta say. And my name is Yovska Drag Plushie, the ultimate drag plushie. You can find me on all socials at Yovska, YOVSKA, including Twitch, and also Under Your Bed in a couple minutes because that's where I'm gonna be going after.
Thank you, Yovska. Trashly, how can you encourage others to DIY? Make something today.
I agree with Debug with start small. But also just know that when you're starting, you're probably not going to have the best tools, and that might be a hindrance to you. And so just know that I would definitely talk to people who know what the best tools are for, like, instance, hairstyling. Once I got a better teasing brush, it was so much easier. Or once I had a working sewing machine, it was so much less frustrating instead of the sewing machine breaking every 10 seconds. But anyway, I'm Drag Trashly, and you can find me at twitch.tv Drag Trashly most nights, Monday through Saturday. And
Thank you. Thank you all so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of it. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it here. Go out there and make drag your own. Do it today. Love you all so much. This is the last panel of the day. Thank you for being here. We have more content tomorrow, 11 a.m. PST. Make sure that you donate to Amfar. We're $40 away from 500. Get your merch. And bye, y'all. I'm Dear. My name is Dear. Let's play with your fear. Love you. Bye.